Hi, this is James from McKayResearch. I hope you're doing well. This is a short 3-minute video to introduce our new report entitled Digital Assets and Blockchain, Top Trends to Watch in 2022 and Beyond. Now, rather than trying to provide an exhaustive overview of every single development that's taking place in one of the most dynamic sectors of today, the goal of this report is really to provide a critical analysis of what we feel are 7 of the most important trends that are coming to bear on price action and adoption of cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology, as well as those that have the power to impact meaningful change across a wide variety of spheres, including industrial efficiency pertaining to Industry 4.0 technologies, environmental sustainability, organizational governance, the digital economy, and more. Now, the first trend that we look at is macro decoupling. Now, Bitcoin has largely been uncorrelated to traditional financial assets in its short history, but since 2020, this correlation has tended to trend positive, and even more so now with the conflict in the Ukraine, where people are flooding into safe haven assets such as gold and selling off assets such as stocks and of course cryptocurrencies. So really here we're seeing that Bitcoin and other crypto have yet to prove their worth in terms of their traditional safe haven asset status. But more important is the decoupling that's taking place within digital assets. And here, the decline of Bitcoin dominance signals a weakening of macro inputs on crypto in favor of the more blockchain-based distributed systems that really hold the key to mass adoption. Now, the second trend that we look at is institutional investment. Now, this is something that's been building for quite some time, and we've seen a steady crescendo of announcements of institutional participation in the space, from investment banks to hedge funds, family offices, and even corporate treasurers. And this trend appears to be well established and entrenched and will only continue to grow going forward. Now, the other thing we can say with a high degree of certainty is that because of the extreme price rises that we saw in 2021, many corporate treasurers especially will be waiting for deeper corrective pullbacks, maybe even more so than what we've seen now, to take up large position in Bitcoin and other digital assets. Now, the third trend that we cover is one that really caught fire in 2021, and that, of course, is the NFT. Now, there appears to be no slowdown in the number of high-profile NFT collections that have been launched across the worlds of entertainment, sports, and of course the art world. Now, this is of course positive news for the holders of these NFT tokens and for the broader adoption of cryptocurrencies, but it still remains to be seen to what extent these NFT tokens will hold their value over the longer term, given the hype-driven nature of what is still a relatively nascent asset class. Now, the fourth trend that we cover is the Metaverse, which is simultaneously one of the most hyped and nebulous domains of crypto and blockchain technology currently. And it really represents a broad shift in how we interact with a patchwork of different technologies, from virtual reality to augmented reality, NFTs, cryptocurrencies, and so on. Many people would have first heard of the Metaverse after Facebook announced that they were rebranding to Meta, even though, of course, the idea of a centralized version of the Metaverse sits uncomfortably for those who are proponents of open, decentralized varieties. But perhaps what's more important is what the shared virtual environment represents for the future of trade. And here, blockchain purists and investors alike are seeing huge potential in the opportunities to monetize these virtual experiences, goods, and services, and how the metaverse really has big potential to shape the future of the digital economy. The fifth trend that we cover is sustainability. Now, much has been made of Bitcoin's high energy expenditure, which of course is true, but here we seek to contextualize some of the data around Bitcoin's energy usage with other industries and sectors for comparison. We also seek to tackle the objectivity versus subjectivity question of Bitcoin's power consumption versus its perceived utility. And we look at some of the projects and initiatives that are underway to make Bitcoin more energy efficient and to reduce its carbon footprint. Finally, we look at some of the other ways that blockchain technology can positively impact the environment, from carbon capture to food supply chain tracking. For trend number 6, we look at blockchain's growing impact on the Industry 4.0. Now, the Industry 4.0 refers to the automation of traditional manufacturing and industrial practices through the adoption of smart equipment. Now, despite the wide diversity of technologies, which include 3D printing, robotics, the Internet of Things, there is a growing recognition on the part of industry that blockchain could become an essential pillar here to help to secure trust for the transferring of value and also for providing an immutable data store for the tracking and safeguarding of objects and property across multiple applications within these different industrial spheres. Now, the seventh and final trend that we cover is the DAO, or the Decentralized Autonomous Organization. Now, the DAO has been slightly under the radar compared to some of the more headline-grabbing trends, but there's more and more interest pouring in as their potential to become a transformational tool in how we organize human collaborative and productive capacity becomes clear. Now, this is very much reflected in the huge increase in the assets under management of some of the top DAO treasuries, and also the fact we have the first signs of DAOs being recognized as actual legal entities. But at the same time, it's very important not to overly romanticize DAOs and expect them to be some form of cure-all for all the long-standing issues of traditional forms of hierarchical organization. But for sure, they'll have their place, and it will be very interesting to see how their blockchain-based smart contract systems can, of course, overcome some of the issues we have around governance, transparency, corruption, etc. So that's the roundup on the 7 trends featured in our new digital assets and blockchain report. That was a little bit longer than 3 minutes, I know, apologies. To get your free copy, visit the website www.McKayResearch.com. I'll also post a link in the comment section here below. Likewise, if you have any questions, inquiries, or feedback on the report, I'd be happy to hear from you. Get in touch via the website or through LinkedIn, and I'll do my best to get back to you as soon as possible.